Hi there, it's Denise. This week I'm going to share a little more of the 100 pieces project that it's already slowing, so I have to I have to find some energy for that. But I've this week just been coming to terms with how to let go of my little ones, these little wee tiny ones. Sorry about that, the camera moving. It's quite a long story, and so I think I might make a separate video for next week about those, because there's some lovely kind of revelations that have been dropping in about how much these little paintings mean to me. They seem to be very important to a very young part of me. So that's for another time. So this week I thought I can share a bit of the progress of this painting here. And it's so interesting when I catch it in the background here and when I glance at it when I come into the room. It's like that lady is sitting at the table looking at me, but she's actually, the way I've designed the painting, that is a painting within a painting. So it's not meant to be a painting of a table with her sitting at it, but it kind of looks like it. So that's a bit of fun to play with. And I want to shout out to an artist called Hope Olson that I only discovered this week by shuffling through Pinterest to find kind of examples of the kind of work I love, to just help spark me off in what is it I'm looking for. You know, as artists, we're often like that. We're really looking for something. And by seeing examples of that can help to go, oh yeah, I love that. No, I don't love that, you know, and that helps you when you're doing your own paintings. I like that, but no, I don't like that. So the painting by Hope that I found online, and it was really lovely. It was on an Instagram post, and I just thought, oh, I love that so much. Not to mention the fact that there's, you know, she's been to the florist probably, and the flowers are all over the table. I love everything about that painting. It's gorgeous. But the beautiful thing she did was in the post where she talked about the color scheme that she used and why and how, and gave tips on how to get that together. So that was lovely. Curiously, she did talk about using the color wheel, and I've got to admit, after hearing what she said, I realized I've never really learnt how to use this color wheel properly. Like, I get it. I get that there's the primaries and the secondaries. That's no worries. But the creating a color scheme for a painting from the color wheel, I can't say I've really ever done that. No, I have not actually thought, okay, let me get the color wheel. Let me look at what's available to make this kind of painting and I'll do that. I have not done that. I've sort of like learned about color in different ways, and then by experimenting, and you find what colors do you love. But yeah, where was I going? So with the idea in mind of trying to be looser, which is not really happening. Oh, it is and it isn't. So there's a lot of things that I'm learning about. I think maybe I'll talk more about that when I show this painting. So I'll leave it there and see what I can find. And the other thing I did was I remembered I had a big plastic folder of pictures of flowers that I used to sort of like, I gathered all these supplies to sort of make soul collage cards, and just general kind of collage materials. I had a whole bunch of gardening magazines that I brought back from New Zealand, and years ago when I stayed with my parents before they both passed, and I realized I can't keep all the magazines, so I went through and I got all the pictures out and put them in this thin plastic box. And so with this 100 pieces project, I seem to be keen to do messy florals, but also the little seated lady seems to pop in as well, but the sort of messy floral still lifey thing seems to be happening. And so I found an empty sketchbook and started to paste things in, and then realized, nope, that's not going to work. So I'll share with you what I've done with a whole bunch of beautiful magazine cutouts of florals that I've got. And it's made me realize, I'd like to go in search of more magazines that show floral arrangements. I think I really enjoy having a selection of things on a page that I can put out on my table, you know, like sometimes as reference, as opposed to looking them up online and having your phone with the reference on there, and then it keeps going to sleep and you have to wake it up again and it takes you back to the screen. Oh, I sometimes have days, you know, that screen and me are far too well acquainted. So yeah, I'll share with you what happened with the florals and anything else I can think of along the way. So thanks for being here. I've set something up here. These little ones are having their own private show of these paintings. I've been working on this one today a little bit and just noticing how uncomfortable I feel trying to do this more loosely, and seemingly how much I have to concentrate on that. I've just sketched in the chair behind her because I wanted her posture to make sense. So this is the image that was the original, and I did a print on the canvas, and that's what remained. And so I'm just leaving her there as like she's a shadow of what was before. And just I did a sketch of a lady on Instagram, and that's where the rest of this design sort of came from. So that's kind of what I'm working with a little bit, and it's part drawing, part painting. But boy, it's challenging me greatly because it's not how I normally love to put a painting together, and that is by having that really loose background and then finding the shapes. So having a painting drawn out and making it this way is not my normal way for my larger pieces. So it's just interesting to be along for this ride right now and notice how uncomfortable I'm feeling. This is where I'm up to here. And so what I've done is been inspired by my sketchbook. That's what I've got happening up there. So that's meant to be like a sketchbook. This is a shelf, and that is like a painting within a painting. And so what I've noticed is I'm struggling a little bit with being painterly. I realized just how much I sort of rely and am delighted by when I have a lot of transparent paint marks and things underneath, and I leave them in, and that gives me all these interesting textures and stuff like that. But the thing about that is it doesn't give you thick textury paint. So that's what I've been starting to wonder, if I might like to try a bit of palette knife painting here or something. Not sure. You might laugh. I started to think, who's going to want this painting? It's a bit weird. And then I remembered, no, you're supposed to do it for yourself first. That's important at the moment. And so that's what I've been trying to come back to. So yeah, that's where this one's up to. And I heard on a podcast, pray for more longings or longing. I thought that was interesting. I just wrote it down as I was listening. So I wonder if I'll do a bit more on this today. I went in with a bit of neo colour on her face, but I didn't really redo her eyes. So I'm not sure quite the effect I want. And I actually added the chair. That wasn't there, and I was going to just do this background. But this pose with the arm leaning was created with her sitting at a chair. So I thought, all right, I'll bring the chair back in. This image here inspired this imperfect piece. These are fun, these little things. yeah, it was hard to get the contrast, almost like you almost need a much sort of darker base so that those red ones would show up. And these are the finished pages of the collages. Oh, pardon me. And there's something, oh yeah, this is me trying to have a go at this one. I wasn't very pleased with it, I have to say. Yeah, kind of difficult to get the, you know, like the detail but the loose. You want both. And so when I brought in the fluorescent, that kind of gave it a bit more of a lift. And then I felt I wanted to change the background as well. But yeah, that's where it came from. So I'm noticing too that having the collage flowers is one thing, but actually having vases showing how they could sit together is probably even more helpful. But it was beautiful to hang out with these images and bring them to my big juicy sketchbook to be able to revisit. That's about all for this week, and I had lovely feedback about this one. I think this is one of my preferences. I love line and shape and color, and so this one here actually so far more represents, I think, what delights me most, this messiness. So that's curious to notice, and maybe I should take, you know, try a bit more of this sort of line, yeah, what I said, try that more in my little pieces.